So excited that you're here today, Nick. Thank you so much for joining us.
Happy to be here.
Great. Awesome. So the reason I brought you onto the show today, just because, we met like a few years ago, 2 years ago, maybe 2 years
Yeah.
ago.
hmm
Yeah, around there. And the second I met you, I was like, man, this guy's got something going on. He's going to do big things. I don't know what it is yet, but I knew that you were going to sail past everyone else that was at the seminar, the boot camp conference that we were at. And I was like, man, I can't wait to see. And then lo and behold, here we are 2 years later on similar paths.
Yes.
And I just really respect you and I super admire you. And I think that what you're doing in the digital marketing realm and what you've done for Hurricane Marketing Enterprises and also other things that we're going to talk about is something that a lot of people can learn from, right?
hmm
I think, you don't
Awesome.
to your own horn, but I think it's
Yeah. Thank you.
so so I've been watching you on Facebook lately. For those of you that don't know, Nick has his own Facebook page that you can follow and then his personal page. And so let's start off with that, right? So you and I were talking a few months ago and we were talking about like, well, what do we do? Like, because you have your own personal page, but as you grow your following in your business, you can only have 500 or 5,000 friends on there. And so there's a limit to what you can do there when it comes to Facebook and different ways to spread your message. So let's talk about that. Like, how did you make the decision to have your own page with your name as like a social, not socialite, but like a social, person? Like, I'll kind of let you take it from there.
All right. So, basically, your personal page, like you said, is very limited on the things that you do. And if you really want to grow your personal brand, it's much better to have a professional page. So Facebook allows you to have multiple different pages. You can have a like business page or public figure page. Now mine is actually set up as a business page, but I just set it up as my name, kind of as a potential for maybe changing it to an actual digital name. But most likely I'm probably actually just going to keep it as like a public figure page, because as you grow, which is generally the goal, you want to expand, you want to build yourself, you want to build your brand, eventually, hopefully you bring in more people that can help manage, as well as potentially doing ads. It's kind of a bad word, I feel like, in certain realms, especially if you're not in the actual digital marketing realm and advertising realm, where you don't want to hear that because you don't want to see ads. But the idea and why I'm passionate about ads is because the hope is that what is being delivered is something that you actually want. So yes, sometimes you don't want to see ads, but if it's something you want, then you do. I mean, how often are you going through your Facebook feed and you're like, oh my God, I want to buy that so bad. Like, that's so awesome.
Oh, yeah.
And it sucks you right in. So there's certainly the benefits there, but I really wanted to separate myself from not just having a personal page and really having something that was going to also attract people that wanted to hear what I had to say. I like to do videos. Like you mentioned, I do a lot of videos where I talk about things that I'm learning, books, podcasts, and then I try and put my own spin on it, things that I'm thinking about, and try and share it to help other people. People tell me I'm positive, so I try and really spread the positivity as much as I can, because I don't think there's enough out there. So the more that I can put it out there, and then also I hope that it comes back to me. There is some selfish reasons behind it. I think it goes both ways. But the more that I get people to like that page, then it's going to help, because you're going to grow the audience that wants to see that. So I still have my personal page that has friends from high school, college, family. And some people, they don't want to hear the videos that I'm talking about, which is fine. I want to find the people that do. So the people that do like the videos then will like my page, and then are going to be more likely to, see my post when I'm posting things on there. And it's focused on, just that, delivering, good quality content for what they actually want to hear.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I couldn't agree with you more. There was so many times in my life, since going into like business development, where I've tried being all things to all people. And we all want to be all things to all people, but it's just not the smart way to do it. That's where you're going to work really hard instead of working really smart, and just finding your people that really want to listen to what you have to say and then targeting in that manner, right?
Exactly. I think that's a big fear that people have all the time when it comes to social media. They are hesitant to letting their true self shine. They post a beautiful picture that they find that's maybe edited. They post certain things. Some people will do video, but a lot of people, they don't want to do video. They'll do Snapchat because they know that that's, generally just people that they know. But people are generally friends with more people on Facebook that aren't so much in their core group, whereas Snapchat tends to be more people that you're kind of interacting with on a, more so regular basis, that you have a closer relationship with. And I think that the more that you start to be yourself, on your social media platform, the more that you get back and the people kind of flood out. And I think that that's amazing. If you just try and go through trying to please everyone, you're going to please nobody.
Yeah.
But if you just be you, you're going to find people that have similarities to you, that can relate to you, and you're going to create such stronger, more meaningful relationships. And really, that's the whole goal. That's the point. That's what social media is about, is creating stronger relationships.
Absolutely.
Oh, I love it. Love it.
Absolutely. And so both of us are big fans of Gary Vee. He's pretty awesome. And speaking of like Snapchat, and then you have Instagram, you have Facebook, you have LinkedIn, there's Twitter, there's probably a few more, like Pinterest is even one way to reach people that would find interest in either your hobby, your business, your products, your service, whatever it is. There's so many different ways. And I've heard, I'd like to hear your opinion on this, being the digital marketing expert that you are. So some advisors are, YouTube videos you watch or people you talk to will say, just get good at one thing and then do that full force. But then you have people like Gary Vee, which he's said a little bit of both, but like talking about how it's not about what you're comfortable with. It's about how you can connect with the most people. And that's how you're going to find your people on a wider scale. And I can understand that for the last, 3 years or more, my friends and family have been on Snapchat, and I'm like, what am I going to do? Take a picture of, and then write on it and then send it? Like it didn't click with me until about 3 weeks ago. I decided I'm gonna just do this Snapchat thing. I'm gonna figure it out, and I haven't. I've been sharing stories on there, like similar to what I share on Instagram and Facebook, and trying to navigate that. And then there's also the topic of, sharing. Don't share the same thing on Instagram as you are on Facebook as you are on Snapchat. So, what are your intakes? What are your takes on those subjects?
That is a great question. And it definitely can get a little crazy, because there is so much out there. It's like, what do I do? There's so many. How do I, figure out what I want to do? And like you said, Gary Vee likes to focus on, where you're going to shine the most. If you're a good writer, then, Twitter, and you're limited to characteristics, but you can do a blog, and that can be your more, focus, and Facebook allows you to write more as well. And then, there's pictures on Instagram. And when it comes to like deciphering Facebook and Instagram, the two are very similar. And what I found actually is that I have two different audiences within Facebook and Instagram based on demographics. So, I have a lot of, family friends and people that I've met through, Hurricane, that are in the older demographic, and so those people spend more time on Facebook. Now, the people that are closer to my age group tend to spend more time on Instagram. So a lot of times I like to share both on there, depending on what it is. And Facebook allows you to do a lot more, where you can share articles and, really make it easy to share other content that you're possibly finding and sharing. And Instagram, I love IGTV, but they did something that is very interesting. And I have to think that it's for purpose. I think they did it intentionally, but basically IGTV is horizontal, which for the last, I don't know, 4 years, I've been teaching everyone that I know that you want to film horizontally. Sorry. So the vertical. So
Yeah.
IGTV is vertical, so you're holding your phone. I don't even, phone's right here. You're holding your phone like this. Versus I teach everyone to go like this because it actually captures, more, and then it also looks better on different platforms like YouTube. It's going to look a lot better because you don't get those blurry lines on the side. But now IGTV is trying to separate themselves and really, I assume, because they're going after YouTube to compete with YouTube. They don't want you to be able to put your stuff on both. Whereas Facebook is actually more mobile friendly, where it's not as much like it works both ways. Whereas like YouTube is very much horizontal, and now IGTV is very much vertical. So it's really tricky. And so what I've been doing when it comes to posting on IGTV, but then still being able to post on Facebook and potentially YouTube. Because again, you do want to have, there's different reasons for having each platform. One of the huge benefits for YouTube, and this has definitely changed throughout time. Now, YouTube is longer form video, and Facebook is starting to evolve a little bit more now with IGTV, which now allows you to do longer form video content on Instagram. Facebook still, and it has Facebook Watch now, so it's becoming more of a platform and potentially, taking over TV, like being a network. There's even TV shows that are coming out specifically on Facebook, creating that longer form content, whereas originally YouTube was more for the longer form content. And basically what Facebook wants to do is they want to keep you in Facebook. They don't want you to leave. Everything that they do, from their e-commerce to even going to other websites, they're still keeping you in Facebook. If you ever notice, you're still in Facebook when you click a link within Facebook. Now, YouTube has its benefits because YouTube can help with your SEO on your website, because Google owns YouTube. So by having those two connected and putting it on YouTube and then adding it to your website and having it on your blog is then going to boost your SEO, because the more YouTube videos that you have, the better it's going to be, because YouTube owns Google, or Google owns YouTube rather. Right. And it also comes with your website. You want to be posting regular content, which is why people recommend having blogs in the first place. They want you to have an up-to-date, regular things being posted. And I've actually found, if you're not doing that on your website, that your Facebook page can sometimes have a better SEO search because it has that engagement. Wow. So, yeah. So for example, my dad, he has a glove fixing business, baseball, he repairs them. And I found his website's, it's through like Vistaprint. It's all right. It's very basic. It's just something he does on the side. And when I went to search it, his Facebook page came up before his website, because he's getting reviews on there. He's getting this engagement. And partially because I was like, hey, you need a Facebook page. I made it for him. And then he started promoting on it. Someone would come by and pick up a glove. Hey, if you don't mind, would you mind writing a review on Facebook? So you definitely, I guess I'm kind of spitting out a lot of stuff here, but to go back to what you were saying with, all the different platforms, you definitely want to have at least somewhat of a presence, within where your focus is. So I don't want to say you want to go crazy, because what tends to happen is if the majority of people are on certain platforms, then you might as well just stick to those. So when it comes down to, monthly active users, Facebook has 2 billion monthly active users, which is by far the most. And then, Instagram and YouTube are all, right there. They're not as close. And then Facebook Messenger actually was 3 the last time I checked in the top apps, and the, monthly active users, which is pretty crazy. So
Wow.
in the top 4 most used apps were Facebook, Facebook Messenger, and Instagram, and I believe it was YouTube the last time I checked. It changes within the top, but generally those are always in the top 5, and all 3 of them are connected. So it makes it so much easier, especially from a digital marketing side, from an advertising side, where you can set up an ad and it will actually go through Facebook, through Instagram, and through Messenger. Now, that being said, you don't always want to post the same thing because every platform is different. For example, Facebook, if you're doing a photo, Facebook is wider. It's that I forget what the actual dimensions are, but Instagram is a square. It's completely even, whereas Facebook. So if you, for example, set up an ad on Facebook that's like made for Facebook, it's going to get cut off on Instagram.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. Okay. However, what's pretty neat about Facebook is that when you're creating different posts and ads within the ads manager, you can actually set up specific changes. So you can set up the same ad, like same text, and then you can change what the picture is or change what the video is. So for example, I could set up, let's say, a 3-minute video that's going to play on Facebook. And then I can take that same video, crop it down to a minute, and then have that go with that same ad and play the minute version, in the Instagram newsfeed.
Okay.
Yeah. And what's even cooler too is it will actually also show up in the story through ads, through your story, Instagram stories, and your Facebook story. So the integration between, those 3 apps is why I always tell people to focus on those 3, because they're so interconnected. It makes it so much easier. You're getting your bang for your buck. I mean, people are spending much more time on Facebook advertising. I was just listening to a podcast last night. This guy who's a Facebook ads expert has a digital advertising agency, and that was some of the things that he was talking about, where people, you can't just do one thing. There's people specifically designed just for Facebook ads. Whereas before, if you went to a company, they're like, oh, we'll do Google, we'll do this and that. But no, now like you have one person, like one company specified to just doing, ads, and people are having results where they're not even advertising elsewhere. They just are getting such a high return on Facebook, and the platform links very well with other platforms, for example, like Shopify. So if you have an e-commerce website, if you're familiar with Shopify, it's probably the best known e-commerce website where you can build your whole page and then have all your products and everything in there. I've built a few pages for people. I built one for my aunt. I'm working with a jewelry company right now. We're still building out her shop. And it's so connected with Facebook that people can actually check out right through Facebook without even really going to your website and buy your product.
What? That's awesome. So you're saying Shopify is connected to Facebook and it's an app?
It's like a web development. So like it's your website basically. So rather than going through WordPress, you can build a Shopify website instead, which has the same features as a website. You can do a blog, you can create funnels, you can embed, newsletters, you can embed video. It still has all the same capabilities, but it's very user-friendly when it comes to, the shopping cart features and things of that nature. And then, Shopify even is connected with email marketing, so you can connect your Shopify website with MailChimp. And so let's say that somebody is, they put their email in and then they go to your website on Shopify and they're looking at one of your products. Let's say, they're looking at a pair of shoes. They leave, they don't buy the product. You can actually set up an automated response through MailChimp that says, "Hey, you left this in your cart. Um, are you, do you want to finish your purchase?" I
Wow.
mean, it's pretty fascinating, the extent of the automation and the ability to just, when someone gets away, to be able to bring them back without even really having to do any work. You just set up the automation by itself.
Yeah, that's huge. That's just, I mean, just makes it easier to provide that customer service because obviously we're interested. So maybe something happened. Like, I have an 8-year-old that constantly, wants my attention. I might be trying to buy something online for him and then I run out of time or whatever. And then, being able to get an email like, hey, this is still in your shopping cart, be like, oh yeah, I wanted to buy that. So I think that's fabulous. Like, it's good customer service, and then it really does help with the business and being able to keep up with people. Because I don't know about you, but when you're building a business, you're focusing on, what to do next and how to continue to move forward, such as all of these digital marketing platforms and being able to do the optimization for the search engine optimization through the website. So we focus so much on how to create new leads that sometimes we lose sight of taking care of the current leads that we have and how to increase that conversion rate. And whether that's through Shopify or through phone calls or through Facebook Messenger or the comments that are on the Facebook, through Instagram, through the IGTV, through YouTube, whatever it is, it comes down to being able to connect with the audience. And that was something that you have continuously shown that you're doing, is connecting through audiences through speaking. So with that, I just want to switch gears a little bit into how you got to where you are today and how you started realizing, like, where I want to know, like, where were you at before Hurricane Marketing Enterprises? And then at what point at Hurricane Marketing Enterprises did you realize that you wanted to branch off and do your own sector of your own business that you could help others? What drove you for all of that?
All right, yeah, let's get into it. And add stuff that's boring anyway. This is much more interesting.
No, that stuff is cool. People are gonna press stop at this point. You know what I mean? Like, all right, done, got what I needed to hear. I don't care about him. I just care about what he knows. So, but that's not what True North. True North is about highlighting what you're doing, being the Spotlight of the Month award winner. I'll have something in the mail for you soon.
Oh, awesome.
So what it is about highlighting, like, what you offer to people. But, what I know about you is that you really love to help people. That is your passion. So knowing what people offer is important, but knowing why they offer what they offer, I think, is even equally, if not more important. So yeah, we'll just spend a little bit of time on you.
Awesome. I'll start from the part of right before I got hired. I was sitting in class and sitting next to one of my best friends. I was on my club baseball team. He was the president. I was the vice president. And we were sitting there and he's like, so, like, what do you want to do when you graduate? I'm like, I don't know, something that I can be creative, something where I can just, like, I really like the marketing aspect and doing that. And then the very next day, no joke, my friend gets a Facebook message from Steve and is like, all of these descriptions of digital marketing and social media and video editing. And I'm like, he sends it over to me. I take a look. I'm like, this is exactly what I want to do. So, I followed up immediately. I got hired just like that. I went in for an interview May, got hired June 2nd, and I started as an intern. When I first started with Hurricane, I was immediately immersed into this small business realm. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, this is amazing. And I first started with video. I came in, I had no video experience. I had done a couple, like commercials and some, productions in college, but I was just helping out a friend kind of. I liked it, so they brought me on for more. But that was an acting side. Whereas now I was being brought in to do video editing, and I just got obsessed with that. I remember I bought a camera shortly after that. I really wanted to see if I could do some stuff on the side because I saw the value in it. And it was a way that I thought I could, kind of make some extra cash. I was still working for Hurricane, but it was still very new at that time. It was still small. I was still kind of working my way up in this very small company that really needed a boost, which it eventually did happen, which was great. And then I kind of shifted gears a little bit and stopped focusing on myself and started focusing a little bit more on Hurricane. And so video was really where it got started, where I remember it was like a Sunday and I spent 7 hours, 8 hours on a Sunday watching YouTube videos about how I could be better at video editing. There was a show called Film Riot. It's absolutely hilarious. But it's also just taught me so much. And then this other guy, James Wedmore, who I now listen to his podcast, which is kind of funny. It went like full circle. But I learned so much. I mean, it's amazing the amount that you can learn on YouTube. And so I was doing it with everything that I was doing the website, I was doing graphic design. There was so much that I had my hands in being a small business that I realized that as I was learning these skills and I was talking with other people, I realized that I could help other people with everything that I was learning. So, it started with my dad, and then I started helping my aunt, and I just, within the family, and trying to, push them. And again, they were side businesses, so it was tough because they weren't really all in. It can be really difficult to, work with people who aren't like full-time in their business to get them to do things that will work and that are effective, but have another job and have a life. And, they're just not that committed to blowing it up as how I see things, and, making it so you can change your life, and not it being a hobby, and making it something that you can build, that's going to grow and hopefully impact people. But to get on back to, where it transitioned to also teaching, it was 2016, I believe. And we were planning a boot camp in Philadelphia, which is my hometown. And we needed speakers. And I said, hey, I can speak. I can talk about social media. And they said, all right, great. We'll put you in the books. So, it started getting closer and I was a little nervous. I'm like, oh no, like I'm going to speak. I'm like, oh my gosh, there's going to be like 200 people there. I got to speak. I haven't spoken in front of anyone since college. That was easy in front of a classroom of 30 people. I didn't care what any of those people, it's just students. But now it's professionals, and at this professional event where people are paying money and they trusted me enough to go up and deliver. No one had even heard my presentation before. No one really knew the specifics of what I was going to talk about. They just trusted me to go up there and do it. And I was so nervous. I mean, my heart was beating out of my chest. I was shaking in the back, just pacing back and forth. I think that my coworkers probably thought I was going to do horrible because of how nervous I was, because I was so scared. They're like, no, you're fine. You're going to be fine. You're going to be fine. And I went up there and I was just all over the place. Like I was zipping back and forth on stage, just flying back. And when I watched it later, it was a little too much, but I guess it's better than being like, reading.
Yep.
So I'm moving back and forth and I'm just having a great time. There were some jokes that I had planned, but then some that I improv that ended up doing well. Some that didn't, but sometimes you just gotta throw some stuff out there. But I just walked off this stage, and it's so funny because someone took a picture of me as I was walking off stage, like turning my head, and just like I had this enormous smile on my face, coming off the stage, because something changed when I did that and I presented. I knew immediately that this was going to be a big part of my, coming of my life, that this was something that I wanted to continue to do. This wasn't a one-time deal. And really, I just wanted to do it because I thought they would pay me more, or, that, it would just make me a more valuable employee. I didn't think that all of a sudden I would want to speak at every single event, and I would want to speak more. We did our first Millionaires Boot Camp. I did 2 sessions, and I was pumped about it. I spoke for about an hour and a half, hour 45 minutes cumulative, which was substantially more. I mean, the first time I spoke, it was only 25 minutes, and that was like, oh my gosh, I'm used to speaking for 5 minutes, 25 minutes. That's so much more. So it was, and now I speak for an hour, and I have so much more content to talk about. People are asking me questions. I could go on and on about so many different things. My content and my repertoire of things that I can discuss is just steadily evolving, and, the more and more. And I always say this this is kind of like my saying that's mildly stolen from Spider-Man. It's with like great power or knowledge, comes responsibility. So in other words, in my version is, if you have information that can help somebody, then you have a responsibility to share that information. And so not only am I trying to basically share everything that I know and try and teach and inform everyone, is that it inspires me to learn even more. I've become obsessed with learning. I am reading books. I am listening to podcasts on a all the time. I spend, probably at least 2 hours every day, listening to either a book or a podcast. And because that's where you can get more knowledge to then bring it to other people. So it's twofold. One, I want to learn. I want to learn it from me. I know it's going to benefit me. But also being able to then take that knowledge and teach it to other people and benefit them. I guess this leads into the fact that I know all this stuff. I want to share it with people and help people to do it. So as soon as I started learning about all these things and watching these YouTube videos and, reading on books and just absorbing as much as possible, then I had the desire to try and help every single person that I met that, would listen, basically. I've helped with my friends who owns a service repair shop. I helped my aunt who started a mustard. She makes mustard. My dad does glove fixing, and it's just a side business. But it's just crazy how it's evolved to, now where I'm really trying to create my own personal brand. For a while I was behind the camera and I was behind the computer screen, and now I'm putting myself in front of the camera, and I like it. I'm not gonna lie. I like being, in front of people. And part of it could just be because I think I'm a natural. At least that's what people tell me, that, when I've gotten on stage and they've told me how I've progressed, and now when I get up there, oh my gosh, I just have so much fun. I go crazy. Just absolutely crazy. I'm going to get that orange glow. But I just go absolutely crazy on stage as the MC now. And that's probably one of my favorite things to do, not just talking about content, but being the MC, because it allows me to have that energy level and get the crowd involved, and, getting them to open up. People are at events are stiffs, they don't want and we don't, that's not how we do our events. We don't like that. We want it to be, almost Tony Robbins-esque, where, people are jumping up and down, and every single time, because Steve in himself has so much energy, and people always say he's got so much energy. So when I can elevate the energy to his already existing energy, that's when I think it's crazy big. So then we try and get speakers who have that same energy as well. And, we want people to be so alert when we're cramming all this information in a couple, events or a couple days, so much stuff. You want to make sure that people are focused. And if they are higher energy levels throughout, and you're making sure that they're standing up and standing on one foot and jumping around before next presentation, which is hilarious because I've gotten people who are in 50s, 60s standing on one foot, waving their arms around, but it works. I'm not just doing it to mess with them. It gets them focused so that when they do and we bring up the next speaker, that they're more alert and they're ready to learn and they're at a higher level of thinking. So, it all goes into that, that aspect. And I just love that presence of being able to help people. Someone wrote me a review today. He was actually at the event the first time I spoke in Philly. And he came up to me after and told me how good a job I did. And I was like, I don't know. He's like, no, you were great. And, he's been using the stuff that I taught him, during that event. And we've kept in a, steady relationship from there, which is what I talk about through social media, that you can build relationships. So I've created this strong relationship with this guy. And he's like shared my videos, and, I always just reach out to him. I'm like, how you doing? And, that's where you just create this support and these people and these real relationships by the things that you do, by putting yourself out there and sharing information that can help someone. It feels amazing. It's crazy to be able to have that type of ability to impact somebody that's going to help them in anything, whether it just be their life and their business, whatever it may be, whatever it is you're teaching. Maybe it's just you're teaching them about a product that's going to help them, lead a better life or a safer life. There's so many things and products and services out there that benefit others. And, if you can present it in a way that's going to help them, or put it in a way that will make them see, how these things can take their life to the next level. It has so much more meaning and makes me, grateful for every day that I'm not just doing, numbers and something boring, something where I actually get to be out there and helping people. And that's really what my mission is, to help as many people as I can with the information and the skills that I have. As soon as I started learning these things that other people can't do, then, hey, I can help you. I might as well, do that. And that's why I've kind of started to branch off and do things on my own, because I realized that I didn't want to, just help the company that I was working for. I love Hurricane. It's a great company. But I realized that I have these skills that can help more. So if I can branch off on the side and, maybe build something of my own, because I'm obsessed with entrepreneurship, and I want to be my own boss. I'm very organized and systematic, and I like things done a certain particular way. And that's kind of, I think, my attention to detail makes it, better. It makes the quality of things come out more. And the more that I can do for others, the better I'm going to be. And so that's really what it's all about. And that's why I'm kind of excited. I don't really know where this is going to go. Right now, I love speaking, and I think I'm just going to go all in on that because I like it and it can help people, and I'll just see where it takes me from there.
Yeah. I hear everything that you're saying. I remember the first time I spoke at a Hurricane when I was an MC that one time. I totally know what you're talking about with the energy level. And for those of you that are watching or listening, Steve the Hurricane, he has a marketing coaching business and does boot camps, and that's where Nick and I met. And then we've kind of both through Steve, honestly, like a big thanks to him. If he's watching this or listening, like he's a big catalyst for change for, I think, both of us, because he believed in both of us and he still does. And I mean, just an amazing guy. Like I aspire to be like him on a day-to-day basis. Like I can't be, Superman muscles, all tan and Tony Robbins, but I know that I can do Alex's version. I know that you can do Nick's version, to where that level of success comes over time. He's in his mid 30s. We're both in our mid 20s. So, well, I'm more towards getting towards the end of the 20s, but we're both in our 20s.
So am I.
Oh, okay. So
yeah.
we both have time. We have plenty of time. And I remember the first time I was going to speak, right? And then I got there and he's like, all right, you're going to MC. He told me like the day before, because we just hit a certain number at my job. And then he's like, if you reach this number, Alex, I'm going to let you talk. I'm going to let you speak at the event. I was like, oh, we're going to meet those numbers. And we did. And but we didn't until the night before by like just a little bit. And I went to the bathroom because I went up to him first and I showed him this like motivational speech that I had made, and I'd only done in front of like 8 caregivers. And I was like, I don't know if you'd be digging this, but like, I think, you know, for the second day of the boot camp, like the 200 people that are in the crowd would really dig this presentation. And I think it'd be a lot of fun. He goes, do it. And I mean, my heart just stopped. I was like, oh my God. He said, yes, I can do it. Oh, I don't know what I'm going to do. And so I went to the bathroom, and kid you not, I don't know if I've ever told you this before. I was like doing like karate kicks, like, and like punching. I was like, oh yeah. And I was like in there, and I'm like, and I had this like big thing, like all planned out in my head, what I was going to say. And I was like, once I get there, I'm going to do, like I on my way here, I was planning what I was going to say, but now that I'm here, only God knows what's going to happen. And I did say that, and the rest of it went completely off the cuff. Like, but I was doing karate kicks. I went into the bathroom, was psyching myself up at 7:45 in the morning. So, for people like us, that's super fun, right? And we were so honored. We're so blessed to have, you know, the higher power, God, you know, Mother Earth, energy, whatever, things aligning for us to help us meet someone like Steve. And so for those that are listening, I want to go back to where, you know, this is your calling. You know, this is what you're supposed to do. I know this is my calling. I know this is what I'm supposed to do. But what about for those people that they're like doing Toastmasters and they're doing, you know, maybe they're in college for speaking. What if they're like super terrified? Because, you know, like the number one fear is public speaking for people, which blows my mind because I think it should be like being kidnapped and hostage and murdered. Like that seems like way more fearful.
Death. That's my biggest fear, death, you know.
Yeah, like I don't want to die. I want to die in my sleep, and I want to do everything I wanted to do before then. But speaking in front of people, whatever. But so to touch on that, and then there's a few other things you mentioned I want to ask you about. But first, what would be your advice to those people that just want to get up there and speak, but don't know how, or they're not sure what people are going to think of them, especially if it's in front of a group of influencers, you know, a group of people that could really influence whether or not their business thrives? What would you say to them?
All right. Well, first off, okay, the first time you do anything, if you expect to be a pro, it's never going to happen. That's just not how the world works. You know that that's not the case for anything that you've ever done in your entire life. What do they say? 10,000 hours to be, you know, an expert.
Yeah.
You know, so if you want to be better at speaking, speak, whatever it is. And personally, I think speaking in front of a camera can be beneficial, but also speaking in front of people is a better way. It doesn't have to be huge groups. It can be groups of your friends. It can be for a short amount of time. You know, it doesn't have to be longer sessions, but you need to get out there and just do it and be okay with being bad at it. It was so funny the first time I spoke. I'm literally like like across the room. People just told me that I was moving too fast and I was making them sick, you know, like from moving so much. So, you know, you make mistakes, and now I've learned, and I stop on one side of the stage and I speak, and then I move over and I talk to the other, and then I make my way into the crowd, and you start to pick up these things as you go along, as you progress. So, you know, the biggest thing is just be okay with being bad at first. And that goes with everything. You know, it's the same thing when I try and convince people to do video. You're not going to be great right away. When I first started doing live, I would fumble on my words and I would speak like I had dyslexic. You know, here I go. Now I am. You know, you sometimes you mix up your words. That's just how people speak. It's natural to fumble on words every once in a while. It's not a problem. It's about your message. It's about what you're sharing. It's about being passionate. It's about having energy when you're sharing your message. You know, the more that you can just practice it and do it as much as possible, the better you're going to get at it and the more comfortable you're going to become. When I first started, I would, in the mornings when I knew that I was speaking, I'd be like my cufflinks, I'd be like shaking, or I'd be like trying to like struggle to put my buttons on. And this most recent boot camp was one of the first ones, honestly, where that wasn't happening. I put them on. I was like, all right, I'm ready. You know, like James Bond. I'm like, let's go. Here we go. You know, but it takes time to get to that, you know, level where you just feel comfortable. I mean, the things on the videos that I do on Facebook regularly, the first couple videos, I was so nervous. I was debating like to push that, you know, post button when it was all said and done. And, you know, when you finally make the decision to commit and put yourself out there, amazing things happen.
I
So many
know.
people have come up to me and thanked me for the videos that I've done, tell me that they're watching and tell me how I changed their day around. And, you know, and that's just from the, you know, personal development videos that I've done, but not just, but also, you know, the social media ones as well. So, you know, it's just the more that you put yourself out there, the more comfortable you're going to be okay with putting yourself out there, and be okay with people not liking it. I know that there's definitely people that are seeing my stuff that it's just not their cup of tea, which is fine, because I don't want them. If it's not for them, then don't watch. That's fine with me. I'm not here to please everyone. I'm looking for people who are similar and like-minded. I want the people, you know, the way I always think about this, when you're a kid and you try and, like, you want to be cool, so you try and be what everyone else is doing, but that doesn't actually work. And the more that you become yourself, then the people who are similar to you are going to come to you. And it's the same thing with people on social media. I think people are hesitant to, you know, put their true selves out there and, you know, expose themselves,
Mm.
you know, to the public. But when you do that, it just feels great and you get such a good response. You know, sometimes I make corny jokes. Well, guess what? I'm a little corny, you know, sue me. You know, that's just who I am, and I'm comfortable. I'm fine with someone not laughing at my jokes. You know, hopefully that's on video. You don't know, so sometimes you just throw it out there, and, you know, hope it works. But, you know, just you just gotta put yourself out there, and, you know, things will work out.
Yeah, to touch on that, like being all, you can't be all things to all people. So finding that niche, finding that group of people that, you know, are going to gravitate towards you makes life so much more fulfilling. I mean, that's a daily practice that I am exercising, at least trying to every day, is to uh, not worry about anything, but especially not about what people think about me. And it's just something you have to go along with. And that's one of the best pieces of, I've received so many great pieces of advice. See, I have dyslexia in my words too. But pieces of advice that people have given me about, don't take it personal, you know, and just do it. And Mel Robbins has this book called The 5 Second Rule, and she talks about just 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Like, just do it, you know. And that's a big thing too, especially going live on Facebook, posting that video. Just do it and then keep going, and then to not give up. We look at people that are successful, we go, well, they were just lucky. Well, no, I feel like people that I know are most lucky are the ones that work the most hard. I don't think that's a coincidence, you know? So this is only video number 3 on True North 365, and it could be episode 333 before someone is seeing this. And trust me, I'm not, by 333, this is not going to be the same wall behind me. I'm going to be in my office, in my home, my house, you know, like, so welcome back to the future, you know, like this is way back in the day, episode 3, but, you know, by 333 it's going to be a different story. And you know, I might be still wearing the same outfit. I like this outfit, so probably keep with this. Had this necklace a long time. But either way, see, that's another joke. We're never gonna laugh at us with that one.
Yes. No, you're exactly right though. You got to start somewhere. That's the whole thing. That's the message, is you just got to start somewhere. You got to put it out there. You know, Steve, when he was doing the videos, it started off the same thing where he was filming in his basement, and now, you know, they look a lot better now, you know, and I'm the one that's, you know, editing them. So, and even when I first started editing them, oh my gosh, I look back at the first couple ones that I edited and I am embarrassed by them. But, you know, it is what it is. Like, that's just the origin. That's how you start. I'm sure if you know, if you watch, you know, so many people when they first started. I mean, even Gary Vee every once in a while shows his like old wine library videos, and, you know, they're hilarious. It's the same thing. He doesn't have that same, you know, swagger and presence that he has on the camera now, but it's been, you know, cumulative of just doing it and becoming more comfortable. But you just got to do it. You just got to start, and then consistently start doing it, and you'll get better, and you'll get better and better and better.
Yeah.
But, you know, a lot of people get discouraged, you know, quickly on, and, you know, you just got to keep pushing through and keep doing it. Stay consistent.
Big time, big time. And you also talked about building relationships. So I want to touch on that for people that are growing their business through social media, which I think everyone should be. Like you're talking about, like actually like reaching out, building on those relationships. So can you just briefly expand on how you're building relationships on social media, other than just, I mean, you can talk about this, like responding to comments, like that's something everyone should be doing. But how else can we connect with people? How else can we build those relationships? Because to build that trust,
Yeah. So first off, when it comes to social media, a lot of people think about like their business page and that's their, main voice, or that's their main thing that they should be focusing on, but it's not. I mean, yes, you want to have a professional business page, but your personal page is really where you create those relationships. You need to leverage that, your personal page, to reach out and connect with your business contacts, because you start to see who they are on a personal level, and then they see who you are on a personal level. And that's how relationships are created. You don't have relationships with people that you don't see. Think about who your best friend, you spend so much time with them that they know who you are. They know what you like, what you don't like, things that annoy you. They know everything about you because they're around you. But with social media, it allows you to now be yourself and show yourself to more people, and them to show themselves to you. So you can create better relationships no matter what it is about. It doesn't always have to be business. You could be posting about the latest Game of Thrones episode, and then next thing you know, one of your business contacts who also likes Game of Thrones, and now you have a shared bond because you opened up on social media. So now the next time you go see them, or you're doing, you want business from them or something, you can send them some Game of Thrones coffee mug, or there's just tons of ways to strengthen the relationships through social media when you start to see who they are. Are they a parent? Are they a wife, a husband? And you start to really get to know them, and that's what's going to strengthen those relationships. Now, from a analytical or like a Facebook algorithm standpoint, it is based on what you engage with. So people are going to, and people have been freaking out recently about the whole Facebook changes, that they're like, I'm only seeing 20 of my Facebook friends, and it's, yes, they do that systematically. And it's not Facebook, it's you. You control your social media, what you see based on what you like and get engaged with. So if you're only liking certain posts, then you're going to only see those posts. If you like all cat videos and you don't like anything else, guess what? You're going to be getting a ton of cat videos. That's just how the algorithm works. They want to show you what you're going to get most engaged with. So one way to make sure that people are, seeing what you're posting is reaching out to them through Facebook Messenger. So Facebook Messenger is connected through Facebook. So by actually reaching out to them and having a conversation. So one way is it's their birthday. Okay, you want to wish them happy birthday. You can do that. And now you're getting engagement, because you know what will happen? They're going to comment on your birthday post and say thank you. And then you're going to like that or say you're welcome. And so now the engagements continue. So now they're going to be more likely to see your post. And it works the same way in Messenger, where if you send a message, now they're seeing that there's a conversation going on. Okay, I'm going to show them more of this stuff. So the more people that you can start to do that with, especially the people that you want to build stronger relationships with, maybe there's influencers, maybe there's people that you're friends with on social media that you want to strengthen that relationship or get more business from them, or, do more, joint ventures with them or co-marketing with them. The more that you can create that and build upon them and, use that messaging and that leverage to have them seeing your things, the better it's going to be. So Facebook can get a little tricky in regards to the algorithms, but direct messaging is huge. And you can do that with so many of your contacts, because you really don't know who, may have a connection with. So one thing you can do is you reach out to someone you haven't talked to in a while. Okay. And you say, hey, how's it going? Like, what are you up to? And they say, oh, blah, blah, I'm good. And then they respond, and guess what they're going to ask you? How are you doing? Now this is an opportunity for you to talk about your business. Now this does twofold. Okay. Now that you've reached out to them, you've just reconnected this relationship that may be a little bit skewed because you haven't talked to them in maybe a year, 2 years, 5 years. They're going to be much more likely to now engage with your content that you're posting. So if you do say you do put out a business video that has your face on it, they're going to be much more likely to engage with it because you've now reconnected that relationship. And I'm not just saying this, I've done this. This has happened to me multiple times because I reach out to people. People liked my business page. So I went on my business page and I went through and I messaged a bunch of the people. I haven't gotten through all the people that like my page and started messaging them, hey, thanks for liking my business page. I really appreciate it. And then a lot of times it sparked a conversation, but then they were more likely to then engage with things later on that I was posting because I now reconnected. Literally, this guy that I talked to, I haven't talked to him since the 8th grade. 8th grade, and next thing you know, he was sharing one of my videos. Like, it works.
It does. I hear everything that you're saying. And that's something that, it's been on the back of my mind. Like, people who have liked True North 365, being able to reach out and be like, hey, thank you so much for liking my page. Hope everything's going well. And hopefully the page inspires you. If there's any feedback or comments that you have, like, please let me know. And just to open that up and thank people. I know I've liked business pages before, and then I've never seen a post. I've never seen anything because I guess maybe because the algorithm, I didn't engage with them. So that's important, building relationships. And then you also talked about just appreciation and just being, just having gratitude. I'm not sure exactly in what form you had mentioned this, but I felt that you were talking about having that attitude of gratitude and, always being thankful for what we already have and then just building upon that. And, here in the next, few months, bringing you back on the show and then talking about like how to monetize your business, how to know your worth, how to know how to market yourself appropriately for an appropriate price. Gary Vee talks a lot. I know we keep mentioning that, but someone that we both listen to. So I feel like it's appropriate to mention him during this conversation and, giving away as much as you can for free, but then also knowing how can you turn it into a business. And the last thing I want to ask you is not the last thing I want to ask you, but the last thing I want to talk about real briefly before wrapping up with a few like True North questions. Is you talked about you want to work for yourself one day, you want to be your own boss and you're working for someone else right now. So what would be your advice for people that are in the same shoes? Like you and I have full-time jobs, full-time like personal lives, and then have these like side gigs that we really enjoy doing that we would love to one day be our full-time. So how do you do that? How do you manage the time personally? How do you do that? And then also, how do you manage maintaining the passion you have for your job when you know that's not your long-term goal? What would be your advice to those people?
That's a really good question, actually, and it's very relevant. I think sometimes it can be difficult. That last part of the question where you said when you want to do your own thing and there's something else going on, it can be often difficult. And I find this struggle with myself, because I think about this like 24/7, just all day long. But I think the most important thing to understand is that it's a marathon, not a sprint. And just taking it one day at a time and just doing a little bit here and there. If you try and overkill yourself and you try to get home from work, shove food in your face, maybe work out real quick, and then work till you're, exhausted and then get no sleep and do that every night, it's going to wear on you. But if you can manage your time and just do a little bit here and there, a little bit here and there, maybe spend some time on the weekends to do a little bit. I spent some time this weekend, but I also didn't, I also went to my brother's and we had a barbecue. So you have to find time to, be yourself and enjoy life while also, building upon the things that you're trying to do. And hey, I don't have my business all figured out yet, and that's okay. I'm just going to keep putting myself out there, keep doing things little by little. And I know that it's going to eventually work out. And, I will figure it out, and the time will come, potentially where it becomes my full time, and maybe it doesn't. Maybe it just becomes something that I enjoy doing on the side. There's nothing that necessarily says that that's how it has to be. But if this is something that you are thinking about on a regular, consistent basis, then you should probably start doing some stuff. I know that was something that Gary Vee was talking about that really resonated with me, because he said, if you're just like think about it and then you don't think about it anymore, then you shouldn't. And I realized that I'm not that person. I'm the person that is constantly thinking about it. I mean, I listen to entrepreneur podcasts and audiobooks all day long, every morning. I have books on my nightstand. I mean, I am obsessed with this world of digital marketing, entrepreneurship, and personal development, and just trying to improve myself every single day. And I think, regardless of what it is that you're trying to do, if you just make small steps, okay, you take one day at a time, doing a little bit more and more, things will start to come. You'll start, if you take the time, ready? This is a great example. And I did a video about this. A while back, I wanted to learn guitar. And this guy on YouTube, of course, he said, you just take 10 minutes a day. I said, 10 minutes. All right. That's when you think about what 10 minutes is, that is so easy. So if you think about, all right, I'm going to take 10 minutes a day to focus on my business, or focus on personal growth, or 10 minutes to read a business book, or 10 minutes, because what's going to happen. You're going to get sucked in sometimes, and you're going to maybe do it for an hour. You're going to maybe do it for 2 hours, but maybe you just do it for 10 minutes, and that's fine too. If you just do a little bit and you try and focus on just doing something 10 minutes a day, sometimes you'll do more, sometimes you do less. It's fine, but it's just a little bit at a time. You're going to progress and get a little bit further. Okay. Nothing happens overnight. There's no overnight success stories. It's not a thing. It just takes time, and you need to be willing to be patient. And I think especially with our generation, we want that instant gratification, and that's just not how life works. You don't just do this. If you're trying to grow a vegetable garden, you're not going to plant a seed and it's going to grow tomorrow. So no matter what it is in life, in business, things take time. The best things take time, and you just need to develop them little by little, and then things will, work out and go your way.
Yep. I agree with that 110%. Okay. So I have so many more questions that I want to ask you. So we probably have to do a Nick part 2, bring you back on for sure. But we'll end with these 2 questions. So being a learner and always educating yourself, what are your top 3 books that you would recommend to people to start reading today?
Interesting. It's tough because I get really high on like the ones that I've read most recently. That tends to happen to me. So I will say though, definitely The Power of Habit. That's one that I just finished. I did like 2 videos about it because it really makes you understand what your day-to-day operations, and it really fits suit to what I just talked about with the 10 minutes. If you make it a habit of doing 10 minutes a day, and it becomes a habit, not just something that you do occasionally, it will happen. You'll get it. It needs to become a habit though. When I changed from listening to music in the morning to podcasts and audiobooks, now I don't even think about it. I get in the car, it's an immediate thing. Like, why isn't there a podcast on right now? Or why isn't there an audiobook on right now? I'm in the car. Yeah. That's become my habit of doing that. And if you can create these good habits, then the more likely that, it's going to happen. Another book, I want to say, I mean, Think and Grow Rich is a classic, and I feel bad picking that book because it is, such a classic, but at the same time, maybe that's why I should pick it, because it's not so much, if you think about it, if you're chasing money, that's not what I think the book is. Okay. It's more so if you're thinking about it all day long, it will happen. So if you're thinking about your business all day long, it will happen. So like thinking you're rich is, if you think about getting money, you'll spend less. You'll work on other ways of making income. It's just based on like what you think about on a regular, consistent basis is what's going to, come. If you're trying to if you want to be healthier, you need to be thinking about health things all day long, and then you will constantly be making the right choices, and you will not take that cookie and not get that fast food. So regardless of what it is that you're doing, you just need to be thinking about it all day long. And as for a third book, I will say Brennan Burchard, High Performance Habits. I really enjoyed that. It's free. Yes, free. You can listen to it for completely free on his podcast. It's his whole first season is the book. And the reason why I picked that book is because there was something in that, in all the audiobooks and everything that I've read, there was something in that that stuck with me more than any other thing. And what that is he tells you his mantra is live, life, matter. 3 words. And so he encouraged you, or, the listener, me, to write your own mantra. What are the 3 things, that you want? And, that really encompasses you. And I took the time, and I have a reminder on my phone because that's what he said to do. So I followed what he said. And my mantra is ERP, which is ERP. It stands for enthusiasm, responsibility, and potential. So enthusiasm is basically just taking every day and just having enthusiasm and trying to spread that positivity as much as I possibly can, and do everything with enthusiasm and try and spread it to others. And then responsibility is, if you have an ability, or you have a skill, or you have a gift, or you have a product, or you have a service that can help somebody, then therefore you have a responsibility to help them. You have a responsibility to put yourself out there, to share that information. And then potential is just not just living up to my potential, but also helping other people to live up to their potential. So I've been doing a lot of consistent videos on Facebook, and I credit a lot of it to this phone reminder, this mantra that I get every morning. It comes at 8:30 every day, and it's just that reminder of like what my mission is and what my core values are, and encourages me to do that. And I set that with the intention that that was what it was going to be, that this was going to be my reminder to do these videos. It was going to be my reminder to put that content out. It was going to be my reminder to try and build my business on the side. It was going to be, that thing that was going to keep me going every single day. And, it doesn't necessarily have to be so specific to what mine is, or a business. There's so many things that, even if you just want to have a happier life, maybe it's just, happy is one of your words. And then you just see that, and gratitude is one of your words, where it just reminds you to the things that you want to remember every single day. And gratitude is a great one. I try and practice mindfulness and meditation every day, because when I do it, that's my main intention. I start with that in mind every single time. And it's very beneficial. A lot of times I'm walking in the office, and I may not be having, I'm like not in the great mood, and I change it. I become more self-aware of that feeling where I'm like not in the best mood. And I'm just like I think about things I'm grateful for. And then all of a sudden it's like a flick of a switch. And to be able to do that is took time to develop. It didn't happen overnight where I was able to just like switch on my mood when I wasn't in a great mood. I mean, it even happened, earlier today. I just like wasn't feeling that great earlier today. And I was like, what are you doing? Like, I'm grateful for so many things that I have. And it totally just changed. And all of a sudden I'm like, I'm in a great mood now. This is fantastic. So to be able to take yourself out of those things. So know yourself when you're creating these 3 things, what your mantra is, that can really pull you from the bad places that, we all tend to just drop into. It happens. We have our low points and our high points, and bring yourself out of those with these 3 words, and, whatever it may be, and figure it out. And listen to the book. It's free. Okay. It's a great book. He's an amazing speaker, presenter, life coach, business coach, high performer. So definitely just take a look and listen. And when he explains it, it'll be better than my explanation when you create your mantra.
I completely understand and agree with you. Anything that's free, that book and then Crushing It is free too on YouTube. And those, just being able to take the time out and listen to them, and it really does change your life. And I know the exact same thing, like when you're driving around for the day, or you're walking into the office, or you're walking into, being with your family, like being able to switch it around and just be grateful and have that mindfulness instead of mindlessness is it only benefits you. Well, not only, but it benefits you first most, and then it benefits others as well, because people want to be around happy people, and employers want to be around happy employees. If you're an employee that comes in and complains and is pointing out problems, like, that's not fun for a boss. No matter how well seasoned that owner of the company or that manager is, no one wants to be around a negative Nelly, so it's always better just to be not even just positive. Like, positive is awesome, but like you said, enthusiastic, responsible, and to show the potential that you have and that others have to achieve greatness in this world. So yeah, I completely agree with you. And it's just amazing to hear everything that you've talked about so far. I've written so many different notes down. Like, I'm like, oh yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. That's a good one. And even wrote down something that I remembered, like, that I forgot to be responsible for to do last week. So not only have you impacted me just during this conversation, I know that the thousands of other people that are going to listen to this on podcast or watch it on YouTube are going to be really impacted just by this short conversation, because you're full of knowledge, Nick, and you're so, you are responsible, and you are sharing what you're learning with others. And I believe that that's why we're here, is to help others and to learn it. And then it's our responsibility to share it. So I appreciate you and thank you for sharing as much as you have with us so far. And no need to do a poll whether or not we're going to have you back. We definitely will. And we'll just keep pushing onward and forward. And so people can go to your website and follow you on YouTube and on Facebook. And how do they do that? How do they connect with you?
So I recently rebranded myself to make things easier. So all my handles are Nick J Boni, NickJBoni. So that's my Instagram, my Twitter, my Facebook, and you can find all of that. And then also you can go to nickjboni.com, and that's my website. So they're all connected, makes it super easy. So all my the videos on YouTube are on my website, are going to be progressively, or you can find the channel through my website as well to make it easier. So yeah, that's easy to find. Nick J Boni.
Sweet.
Everywhere.
Nick J Boni. All right. Nick J Boni worldwide, here soon. Sweet. Well, again, thank you so much. And I'm just, like I said, grateful, and I know everyone else is too. So that's it, guys. Keep checking back with us. And again, this is Nick and True North 365. Thank you. Bye.